Hello. Today I'm covering chapter 12 of The Science of Being Well. And the chapters, I've gotten a little confused with the videos. I have this book and it has a list of chapters, and then there's an audio and the chapters are listed a little different. I think because here the preface is numbered as chapter 1, which is really not a chapter. So I renumbered the videos in the group, and they're all now, when you go down into the files in Freedom Mastery, they're all in order. And you can see I titled them with the chapter numbers to help you out. So don't listen to the chapter I say in the videos. Just look at what I wrote there. Okay, so chapter 12 is hunger and appetite. And this is really important because, at least in my personal experience, my family, as we've been doing this, we have found that we absolutely, so there's a hunger and appetite, and that we do eat a lot for appetite. I do believe it's an epidemic, and I believe that the world honestly needs this information, because this gives us the simplest way to take control of our wellness and well-being. And just easy ways to take control of our portions, to know what to eat, to know when to eat, how to eat. I mean, these are amazing principles, just, I believe, given to us from God. That's just me. I believe it's divine. I know, at least in my personal life, this is divine, because I physically have issues, and I've got to use my nutrition to really help me be well and help my well-being get to that next level. Otherwise, physically, I'm just so limited. It's not like I can just go run and go work out and do some laps around the pool and that kind of thing. So, if you're limited, and if you know anybody that is limited and that is struggling with their weight and their wellness, this can be for anyone that's willing to take a look and put some time and energy into reading it and doing it. Okay, so first of all, we give a little recap here on the principles. Number 1, never eat until you have an earned hunger. Otherwise, you're eating for appetite. 2, stop eating the instant you feel your hunger abating. Number 3, never gorge yourself. Never just keep eating and eating and eating because you like the flavor. And that's the next one. Everything after eating for hunger is eating to gratify taste and appetite. And this chapter, Wallace Wattles actually talks about that being excessive, debauchery, very deeply rooted in most of us, to satisfy that sensual gratification for taste and flavor. That is actually rooted in much of the population today, and a reason for why many of us are struggling with our health. I totally believe that. It says to enjoy the taste of your food, but not eat for the taste. Huge difference. Okay, next, you're going to realize that you're going to be eating probably about half the amount of food you normally eat if you're putting this into practice, if you're chewing slowly, cheerfully, to a liquid, if you're only eating when you're hungry and not when you merely have an appetite or a craving. Cravings, that right there, that's appetite. It has nothing to do with hunger, I tell you. Okay, next, do not eat dessert if hunger is abated. So, this book actually talks about dessert, and it talks about cake and pie not being unwholesome. It talks about it actually being good, wholesome foods if we're eating it to gratify our hunger versus the sweet, appetite. So only eat dessert if you're hungry, basically. Don't eat it just because it's there available after you've already eaten your entire plate of food and you're not hungry anymore. It says absolutely do not eat anymore. Another principle here that happens as you're doing this and as you're living this lifestyle, you will notice, because I've been noticing it, and I've been talking to a couple others that have been going through the series that notice, I'm satisfied with plainer foods. I'm satisfied with simple things that, like, for instance, my children, because they're not really doing this exactly as much as I am, to the extent that I am. So, things that they think of as bland. Like the other day, my husband boiled carrots, and I wanted mine without butter. I wanted mine without salt, without anything. I just wanted to enjoy the flavor of the carrot, and they thought that was kind of crazy. They're like, it doesn't have any flavor. But I could taste the carrot, and I enjoy now the flavor of food versus seasonings, salt, all those extras that are added to the food that we don't know what those extra things do to our bodies. Honestly, I don't believe all those extra things, at least as far as processed sodium, watch your processed sodium, soy fillers, watch the soy ingredients in your food. These things can be detrimental to our health if they are overdone. So the plainest food will come taste, in this chapter, Wallace Wattles says that it will taste like kingly fare. I love that. So our sense of taste, just like all of our other senses, will become acute with general improvements in our condition, our general health and well-being. I mean, I've absolutely noticed I've lost a little bit of weight. I feel really good every day. After my meals, I don't feel stuffed and full anymore. I feel lively and energetic. I don't feel like I need to go take a nap after every meal. So I have noticed a difference. I have noticed general improvements. The average person who takes up this plan of living will be greatly surprised to learn how little food is really needed for the body to be in perfect condition. That's true. I eat much less. The amount of food depends on the work that you do, on what your muscles expend. It's this muscular exercises, and your exposure to cold affects the amount of food that we need, is what it says. The more colder environment, shoot, I don't even remember what it said about if it's more. I think it's less, less food, but I'm gonna look it up. Where are we at? Okay, I'll look it up. But while I'm looking it up, it goes into a chapter here about the difference between like a woodcutter and a brain worker, and the difference between how much food they need, and that the wood chopper will need 2 to 3 times as much food because they're exerting that much more muscle exercise and work to earn their hunger. That actually computer workers, brain workers, people that are sitting at a desk aren't going to need as much food. So, okay, I found the area where it talks about the amount of food, and I don't see exactly where it says. I'll look that up. That's interesting. I'm curious about that. The internal wisdom decided okay, this is big. The eternal wisdom decides what we will eat, basically based on the staple products, depending on the zone we live in of the world. And this is, and as well, how to prepare the food. So this is said to come from eternal wisdom. When we ask, well, what are we supposed to eat? Well, God is saying, eat closest to home. It reminds me of the story in the Bible when God gave the Israelites manna from heaven when they were wandering in the wilderness. It just reminds me, not that we live in wilderness right now, but I do believe that there is a wilderness technically going on around here with our health and well-being. We are in a wilderness, and this is absolutely saying, go back to God, go back to your creator, go back to the basics of what was intended for the physical body, and stop doing what everybody right now that is in wilderness is doing. Anyway, it's a thought that came to my mind that I thought I would share. Success in anything is attained by doing each separate action to the best of your ability. Each thing, it reminds me of something my husband told me many years ago. Take it one tree at a time. Don't try to take the whole forest in when you're looking at doing something different, making a change, improvements, one thing at a time, and focus on that. Give all of your energy into that, and it can only be a success as a result if you're doing that. Another thing about this book and about everything that this is covering, this is really, really a mission and leading us on this, I do believe, calling to get back to listening to our bodies, to get back to listening to ourselves, to get back to listening to that eternal wisdom that we have access to, that lives within us, that health, that principle of health, to connect with that, and to get away from what everything in the world is doing. I just looked at the clock and it was 1:11. I'm always catching those synchronicities. I love that. You know, getting back to ourselves, getting back to, you know, not necessarily what the crowd is doing, but what is better for us, you know, despite whether a lot of people are doing it or not. Because I'm telling you right now, this is not a common lifestyle. This is not a common way that people in America, at least around here, the people we know, when you go to restaurants and you see people just chowing down on these huge plates of food, gigantic hamburgers, like, it's not common, but it definitely works and can be a huge benefit in our lives for our well-being. Listening to our bodies, being in tune with ourselves. Another one big thing I'm going to add in here is reducing toxins in our home and that affect us, that are around us. Acknowledging, becoming aware of whether we have toxins around us, in our products, in our food especially. So then it goes into a chapter on thirst, and it says that if you're thirsty, absolutely only drink water. It says not to drink for sweet flavor and pleasure, you know, sweet drinks, to drink water. No, don't drink for sweetness, and to be conscious of drinking enough water, even if it's convenient. I mean, there's been times that the kids and I were like at a park and everybody's thirsty. We forgot the water bottles. Inconvenient, but other than getting dehydrated, I'd rather be inconvenienced, right? So we go, pack up, go to the store, get water, go back to the park. You know, even if it's an inconvenience, make sure that you and your family have enough water to drink and are getting a good amount of water in your day. You should be drinking half of your body weight in water a day. Stop drinking then as soon as you feel your thirst is abating. Don't guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. Take a few sips and then stop when you don't feel thirsty anymore, basically. So that is chapter 12, Hunger and Appetite. And I do believe one of the most important chapters in the book, as far as me anyway, going through all of the principles and all of the chapters, this is the one that I have found impact my nutrition and my just food wellness, physical wellness. But you know what? That overflows then into our spirit and into our mental health as well. When we keep our bodies detoxed and healthy and well, we can absolutely have a better frame of mind when we need. We can have a higher level of spiritual awareness as we are caring for the needs of our physical body in the way that is healthy for us and well, you know, brings wellness and serves us. It absolutely overflows into the other areas, mind, body, and spirit, right? There's 3 areas and all of them are very important, and we can all do our very best every day, one step at a time, to improve our well-being. So thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. If you're listening to the replay later, thank you so much. And I love you guys. And you know, since this chapter is one of the really, really, I think, valuable pieces of this book, and we're right halfway through, I am going to make this available on YouTube. So if you know anyone that is struggling with their health and wellness, and especially with their weight, I would love to be able to share this with them and provide this wisdom and value for the world that absolutely needs it, okay? So I'll post the link below, and I love you guys so much. Bye.